Welcome, everybody, and thank you for having me here. I'm really excited about this format of All Hands. The title of my talk is Extending Docker for using Web3 for using Web3 or decentralized storage, but that's just the official title. I have an unofficial title, which is many ways to fail and keep trying to extend Docker. And this is what I would like to talk about. It's not just about one successful route, but I think it's worth to check a lot of possible options, even if not all of them are successful, just to have better understanding about the underlying technologies. And first of all, I need some disclaimer because even if I would like to talk about failures, I would like to clarify this is not complaining about. I love Docker, and Docker has a very important and huge history, which can make harder to implement something. But that's good. I'm interested about Docker, and that's why we are talking about. The other part is I'm not a Docker developer, so there can be others who has deeper understanding. I'm a power user, and my special power that I really like to read source code, and I read source code and trying to find solutions based on the source code if it's not documented. So who am I if I'm not a Docker developer? So I'm working as a principal software engineer at Storage.io, which is a decentralized cloud storage object store, and I usually worked earlier with other kind of storage like the Apache Hadoop or Ozone, or did some Kubernetes stuff and presentations, or even blockchain kind of presentation. And I have some contacts and platforms where you can find me, a negligible YouTube channel and so on. So, but let's talk about the today's goal. My goal is very simple. I wouldn't like to do anything else, just Docker push and pushing my container image to the cloud. Or in my specific case, this is not just a cloud, but our cloud, right? A decentralized cloud, what I would like to connect it. But it's just an example. We can use any kind of Web3 storage or decentralized cloud. In my case, I'm working on the storage decentralized cloud, and just quickly explain as the field where we will play that the main important part which may not see that is operated by volunteers. So the storage doesn't have disks. The volunteers have. The storage runs some metadata server which supposed to be federated, and it administers that where are the very encrypted and safely replicated parts. So I'm here, this one, and I would like to upload something. Because the decentralized nature of the protocol, it has a specific protocol. So it's not HTTP. I need something else. And what I would like to do is just push on this very specific protocol. So I try to find multiple ways to do it. Let's check first. So I have Docker daemon running. It's running. And as you can see, I have the container D under the hood. So we know that Docker D utilizes the container D, and container D utilizes the runc just to start the isolated processes. So I'm interested in the container D because I think that's where we can put something to pull and push new things. So let's first define the container D address, just to make sure we are using exactly the same container which is under the hood of the Docker daemon. And after that, I can access with the containerd control CLI. And I know that containerd can be extended in multiple ways because there are some plugin comments here. So, this is the first actually. So let's check the plugins. I need plugin and I need to expose the environment variables. So these are the plugins. And I thought that, okay, let's write something to here just to pull and push to the protocol what I would like to use. but I couldn't see anything actually, which is pull or push related. And when I checked try to find something, I found this issue in the containerd. This is exactly what I'm looking for, except one fact, the draft in the top left corner. I would like to see some merged here. So yeah, that's a long conversation, started uh, almost 1 year ago, and unfortunately, it didn't conclude. I pinged, I think, last year what happened. So currently, this is the future. Future is very nice. We will have some extension opportunity, but today, unfortunately, I couldn't use it. So let's try to find something else. Next option. I checked in the internet again that how it's possible to extend if we couldn't just implement a plugin. And I found another interesting repository, this from the AWS Labs. So they do something similar. How do they do? So actually there is an API in containerd which can be used to do a custom type of push and pull. And this is a very simple API. So something like this. So I have a containerd client, and the client can be during the pull or the push, it can be extended. So I will say that, okay, after the pull, please unpack it to the storage, which is used locally, and I can have a resolver. So this is what AWS Labs did, and I did it as well, just to try it out. So it's very simple. So it's just a few codes. I have a resolver which just creates a pusher or fetcher interface, and the implementation, it's very obvious, just downloading bytes and uploading bytes, at least if you have some libraries already. So let's try to use this one. I can just start a simple containerd. Oh, where is it? Okay, I started a containerd, and let's go to here, and this is a binary. So, and because containerd is running as root, I have to permission to the socket file, and I can just pull or push. So for example, I can push my image. Oh, I need. So to access my specific cloud or the storage cloud, we need a secret. The secret, one part of the secret is the API key, which is the usual secret to access the services. The other part is the encryption, because everything is end-to-end encrypted from the client side. So I have this one saved to this TMP. And now I can try, oh, but this is sudo, so we need to expose the environment variables. So now it's uploaded to somewhere. The uplink is the CLI interface for the storage cloud, so I can just check Docker. This is the name of the bucket. And ls. Oh, and this is the blob. So this is the blob what I just uploaded 1 minute ago from my image. That's very nice. So I can push and pull images to any kind of custom storage. There is only one problem, that I need this custom library. So my goal was to add the Docker pool, and it's not Docker pool, but I need something. Okay, there is two problems. This was one. And the second one is that even if I started with this one, that I just checked that I have Docker, this containerd is not exactly the same as what I started, because this Docker is not used by Docker when we pull or push images, because Docker has some custom option for historic reason. So let's check again how did we do with this one. So containerd with resolver, so that's the key part. So we can just go to the Docker daemon and try to find if it's used or not. To do with resolver. And yeah, it's used in a few places, Balancer, but actually the only place where it can be found is somewhere here in the plugin. So that was the second approach, just to try to use the container. It works, but it needs a separated tool. So the third approach was just to look after what is this plugin where we can find this with resolver. So these are the plugins. Looks good. It's some kind of extension point for the Docker demo, so I was almost happy until I read what is it exactly. So we can use any kind of networking plugin. Oh, networking, it's another stuff I'm not interested. And storage, exactly what I'm looking for. But if I read the storage, this storage does not pull or push, but mounting volumes inside the Docker containers. So when I check the source code of the helper published by Docker, I found that, oh yeah, this is exactly it's just about mounting. So actually this is very similar to the container storage interface, which was developed, I think, slightly later, that if you have any kind of storage, you can mount it to the container. But I'm not interested about this one. So I'm interested about pulling or pushing, not mounting, which can be more tricky, like fuse file system and so on. So that's, again, not enough. What can we try? Well, we can also try to modify the Docker daemon itself, right? Obviously, it's not a good idea, but just for the sake of the curiosity, I try to find where can the place where it's supposed to be modified. And yeah, I think I found it. So there is a puller pool. And in this place, it just creates a new repository. This new repository is responsible to upload and download with HTTP. So unfortunately here there is no extension point. I tried to hack it. To be honest, I didn't finish it to make it work because obviously I couldn't. Yeah, that's the wrong idea, obviously. So I couldn't convince everybody to use my own flavor of Docker. But at least there is one point which seems to be a point to extend it. Actually, it's already flexible on some level because this distribution pool go use an other repository, the distribution, and a lot of pull and push code which is used by the Docker or else it's in this repository. So checking this repository, it looks like it's very good because it can do the stuff, and it also has a Docker registry. So actually it contains a Docker registry itself, which might help me. Well, it's not something like Docker push or pull, because that was my original picture, right, to do. And this was my storage node, and this is the metadata server, and this is what I'm doing. So what I can do is just moving myself to the left, and I need some translator who can translate my Docker push command, this one. So it can be a registry. And it seems that the registry in this repository, in the distribution, already prepared to use multiple time of backends. So the idea is that this full thing can be run on my machine, right? I can start a registry locally, and after that I can just do a Docker push localhost and the port number, and after that it will be with some magic pushed. And this is the first attempt which actually works. So if I go back to here, and this is the original repository. This is almost the same. This is a forked repository, but the only difference is that actually we have a driver here which can help to upload You can choose any of the drivers, and you can implement any decentralized storage here. So actually, this pattern is also used, for example, by IPFS. So Net Control has an IPFS based Docker registry gateway with exactly the same logic. So how can I use it? So, well, you need this access grant to access, and you need to configure a gateway and run. So let's run a Docker, yeah, this one. So you can see that this is the build. I need to define the bucket. I need to define the secret, which includes the encryption password. And after that, I will have a port. Okay, it seems to be running. And after that, as a normal Docker push, I can just push any of my local images if I tagged with this prefix to do. Yeah, and it's pushing. Meantime, we can go to the web interface and go to, because it's client-side encrypted, I need to type the encryption password to the browser. So this one uploaded with a container dmagic, and this one uploaded by the registry itself. So these are the blobs, and I also have the repositories. Yeah, this is there. So actually this is the first option which worked, but I had some problems with it. So it's not very user friendly, right? Because you need to do something locally, just run an actual other command. So, and there is no good option for this one. But one thing what we can do is just you start the Docker desktop process, which is supposed to be start. And the new thing is that we can create extensions here. So what we did is just started to implement an extension, which currently doesn't do too much things, just helps to upload and download images, and it can start this registry. If somebody prefers the command line, it's almost the same, but it can help to get the credential, for example, from the web browser with some auth workflow. So it can be slightly more user-friendly, at least for the people who love the UI. But actually, it's the second approach what we tried. This is still in work in progress, but we are planning to publish it soon, and it works very well. So under the hood, we have the same Docker commands, and we can just create a simple UI interface. This is the bucket name and the access grant, which is supposed to be configured even in the CLI or here, and after that we can just start the registry or start the registry container and stop the container. So there is no big magic here. And finally, there is one other option. So if we go back to here, one option is that for S3, we have exactly the same problem. Somebody would like to talk with S3 with a decentralized cloud, and it's supposed to be somehow transformed the request. And this request can be done somewhere here. So anybody actually can start a service which seems to be a Docker registry, but it's backed by something as a decentralized storage. There are obvious questions, because when it was here, then it was fully client-side encrypted. When it is here, it will be encrypted from here only. So the credentials supposed to be shared. But that's also possible. At least it has a better user interface. So there is an option. Better user interface or better usability. It's easier to start or be more powerful and start it from here. So that can work, but still it's just a dream. So this is the plan. So actually what did work is the registry part. But what I would like to really have is a native integration. So I think the good extension points is the secret how the existing applications can be connected with decentralized application or Web3 applications. And I think we are responsible to help this to create this extension point. So if you are interested, you can follow that pull request or the containerd pull request, or if you have better ideas where the Docker can be extended, it also would be good to continue the discussion. So thanks you for your attention, and just for fun, the real reason why we tried to upload this image, because if check the history, you can get a poem about the end of the summer. So happy autumn to everybody.